Hallo Deutschlerner! Whether you're just starting your German learning journey or you're neck deep in the uncertain waters of the Konjunktiv 2, you will need some books to help you along your way. Today I'm going to show you my personal picks for the books that every German learner should have in their library. If you want any of these books, they are all linked in the description. The links are affiliate links, which means that I get a tiny portion of the money that's made off of each sale, but it does not cost you anything more to buy those books via those links. It's just a nice way for you to help support my channel by clicking on the links. If you want more recommendations than what I mentioned in this video, I've linked my Amazon storefront in the description where you can find all of my favorite books, movies, and more for German learners. If you think I left off a great book for German learners, please let me know about it in the comments down below. I look forward to reading your recommendations. First up is German in Review. If you don't know this about me, I am a huge grammar nerd. I am a firm believer that you need to have a grasp of grammar in order to communicate effectively with any language. Many people are able to learn grammar through context and pick it up as they learn other parts of the language. I'm not that person. If you need a guide for German grammar, I have not found a better book than German in Review. There are several editions out now, but I believe the newest one is the 4th edition from 2003. This version here is the 3rd edition. I had this textbook in college and I was impressed enough that I had to purchase it after graduation. Each lesson comes with a general overview of the grammar topic, followed by exercises that you can complete to practice what you learned. I like how thorough this book is and how much variety there is in the exercises that are given. It starts out with the simple stuff and works all the way through some really complicated topics. So whether you're just a beginner or a more advanced learner, this book is a great resource to have. Next up is Barron's 1001 Pitfalls in German. Sometimes there are little things that go with grammar topics that can really trip you up when you're learning German. If you're looking for a great way to make sure that you aren't making any of those common mistakes with certain grammar topics, Barron's 1001 Pitfalls in German is a great option. I use this book all of the time when I'm planning videos on this channel as a way to make sure that I've explained all of the tricky parts about a particular topic. While I wouldn't consider this book to be a complete guide of all of the pitfalls in the entire German language, it is still a fantastic book to have around when you're struggling with German. Next up is Mastering German Vocabulary, a Thematic Approach. If you're learning German on your own and you aren't exactly sure which words you should be learning for any given topic, or you just want a more organized way to learn German vocabulary, I recommend Mastering German Vocabulary, a Thematic Approach. As the name implies, it simply lists vocabulary with example sentences based on their theme. There are sections about food, travel, doctor's visits, the human body, sports, culture, religion, and more. I would approach this book as a guide for weekly or monthly lessons. Pick a chapter or a topic that interests you, then focus on studying the words in that section for that week or month. Use it as often as you can. Find ways to integrate it into your daily life. While it's helpful to have a dictionary, you can simply download those onto your phone, but this book goes so much beyond just a simple reference book. That's why it's always on my bookshelf behind my desk. Next up, we don't have just a single book, but actually a series of 11 books by Andre Klein, Dino, Lernt, Deutsch. There are a ton of places that you can go online to find German reading materials. All of the Grimm fairy tales, for instance, are online at grimmstories.com. They're in German and a ton of other languages. You can even read them in German side by side with your native language. While this is great for some people, others don't want to read fairy tales all the time. Enter Dino lernt Deutsch. Dino is a young man who's trying to make a new life in Germany. The story is written in German, but follows Dino's level as you go. The books get progressively more difficult as you go along through the series. They immerse you in German in such a way that you forget you're even reading in a different language. There are comprehension questions at the end of each chapter to make sure that you understood the main points. It's such a fantastic series, and really you should buy all of them, but I've linked the books individually and in the box sets down in the description. I also have a link down there for a very old review I did of the very first book in this series. He also just released the 11th book in the series, which I just got in the mail, and as soon as I am done reading it, I will post a review of that. Another great feature of this series is that you can get the first 10 books as audiobooks. Then you can hear each book read by the author himself, and you can get your first audiobook for free if you sign up for Audible via the link in the description. Next up is another series rather than a single book, this time by Angelika Bohn. I've done several reviews on this channel of books written by Angelika Bohn. I own most of her books, but I realized that whenever I was writing the script for this video, there are 3 books that I haven't read, so I'll be purchasing those immediately after I finish this video. Each book in her Einfach Deutsch lesen series tells you right on the cover which level they're targeted at. They vary between A1 and B2. Every single one that I have read has been fantastic. They aren't just good for German learners, they're simply good novels no matter who you are. She has a style of storytelling that has left me saying, wow, I did not see that coming, every single time. Der silberne Kugelschreiber follows a pen as it's passed from one person to another in a fascinating story that is exciting to read. Immer wieder Sascha is one of those body-swapping stories the likes of which you have never seen before. Falsche Adresse starts with a mysterious letter that is sent to the main character, and when she returns it to a post office, it ends up back in her mailbox anyway. She then goes on a quest to find out the origin of the letter. That quest has a ton of twists and turns. Foto ohne Namen starts out with the main character finding a newspaper photo in his apartment. He sets out to find out who's in the photo, as it doesn't have a caption or anything under the photo. Her books are also available as audiobooks, and she narrates her own books as well, just like Andre Klein. Again, there is a link for an Audible trial in the description, so you can get your first audiobook for free. Next up are Grimm fairy tales. I already mentioned that you can read all of the Grimm fairy tales online for free, but I personally own a copy of them in German that I think is fantastic. I'm an old-fashioned guy in that I like having a real hard copy of a book whenever I read something. I don't want a book that's on my phone or tablet or computer. For that reason, I purchased this book, which is called Die schönsten Märchen. It isn't meant to be a German reader, so it hasn't been written with German learners in mind. This means that some of the text can be a little bit more complicated, but anyone who's ready for that level of German learning should go ahead and check out this book. Next up is You Go Me on the Cookie. My fellow YouTuber and friend Donna Newman from the YouTube channel Wanted Adventure wrote a book a couple of years ago called You Go Me on the Cookie. It's a hilarious take on German learning and her struggles with that. Some of the highlights for me was her explanation of what a Notlüge is. In English we call them white lies, but in German the word literally translates as an emergency lie or a lie out of necessity. When she was talking about watching soccer matches and at the end it was a tie, then somebody said that it was unentschieden. How can a game be undecided? Didn't it end? She complains about the problem with bleiben using the verb sein as a helping verb in the perfect tense, while not being a motion verb with the two-way prepositions. Both of these issues, by the way, I have addressed in my You're Doing It Wrong series. I will eventually do a full review of this book as it is truly fantastic, but I haven't had the time to do it yet. In the meantime, you can buy your copy via the link in the description. I think I have to mention at this point that I've also written a book about German learning. It's designed for beginners and is currently only available as an ebook. One German learner sent me an email with their thoughts on the book. They said, "I really love your course. It has given me a new lease on life with this fascinating language. I really enjoy studying the text along with having the portability of the MP3 recordings and watching the videos. The text along with the Q&A have a detailed treatment that I really appreciate." You can find that linked down in the description as well. It's available on Amazon or on my website. Which books do you use for German learning? What are your favorite picks? What are your recommendations for other German learners? Write them down in the comments below. Das ist alles für heute. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss!